Hi everyone and welcome to the weekend Q&A session. I've done these the last, I think 3 weekends now, or might be even be 4 weekends. And I spend the weekends just grabbing your questions that you've left me, either in the comment section or on Twitter or via email. And some of you send me donation requests as well. And I answer them in the video over the weekend, and it's really turning out to be a very popular video. And I love doing it because I like answering your questions. So let's get things underway with the first question for this weekend, which has come from TechFankG. What are your most anticipated fitness trackers and or smartwatches for 2014 that have been previously announced? Well, there's too many really to cover in one answer to that question because CES just happened and it seemed like so many different companies were jumping on this bandwagon and announcing smartwatches and fitness trackers. Now I use, as you probably already know, the Fitbit Flex, and I'll come back to that in a moment. Of the ones that have been announced so far, I think there's one, I think it's the Garmin Vivo Fit. That looks really nice. I do like the look of that. I like the design and styling. And I think that all of these fitness trackers that are being announced, really their success relies on the sort of social aspect, the app, and how everything integrates together. I mean, I like this Fitbit Flex because the app's great and it does exactly what I want, bar a couple of things. Again, I'll talk to you about that in a minute. With regards to smartwatches, I don't think anyone's quite got it yet. The Pebble still looks amazing. I'm very, very tempted to pick one up, but I don't think it would enhance my geek lifestyle. It does a lot of things and it's got some great apps, but it's got its limitations. And I want to see something that's got a touchscreen and allows me to really interact with the notifications and features without having to get my smartphone out of my pocket at all. It's all fair enough seeing a notification on your wrist, but then you still have to get your smartwatch out. So I want something that allows me to interact with my smartphone or work independently without having to take my smartphone out of my pocket. Now, I said I was going to come back to talk to you a little bit more about this. Well, I think one of the real nice fitness trackers that's already available in America is the Fitbit Force, because it does the same as my Fitbit Flex, but it also gives you the time on your wrist. And just recently they've announced that it's either already there or it's on the horizon of being released, a new update, which will also give you notifications. So yeah, you'll get a notification of an incoming call or a text message perhaps, but you've still got to take your phone out of your pocket, but it is a step in the right direction. And I've said this in previous videos, I'm really waiting to see what Apple does in this space, because they will definitely join this space at some stage, hopefully during 2014. So that is a really good question though, and it's a very exciting time for this sort of wearable technology. And then we're talking about things you wear on your wrist. The next question ties in really nicely. It's from Zofath Ali. He asks, well, he actually says, great vid again, thank you very much. Will you be doing a watch review of your whole collection showing off what watches you have got? Well, I hadn't planned to do one, but I have got some new watch videos coming up of new additions to my collection, and it's a good idea. So thank you very much for your question, and I'm going to take that as a suggestion and actually try and do a watch collection video in the near future. So brilliant, brilliant question. And there's another one up here from Rohit Chowdhury. Dave, what football club do you support? Just curious. Well, I have answered this in previous videos, but you obviously haven't seen the previous ones. I don't really follow football. I'm not a great football fan, but the actual team I support is Chelsea, and I really only support Chelsea to support my son because he supports Chelsea, so we just watch together and cheer that team on. He's a true supporter though, so I would say I'm just like a bystander watching and really just enjoying the experience with my son. I've never really got into football. I don't know what it is about it. I know there are millions and millions of football fans worldwide, but I've just never really enjoyed it myself. So, but that is a brilliant question. Thank you very much for that question. So the next question comes via Twitter from Mark at TechViews on Twitter. Hi Dave, do you believe Apple will release the 27-inch iMac with Retina display this year? Well, I think what you're probably asking is, will they release a 27-inch iMac with a 4K display? Because the current iMac with that 27-inch screen is already very high resolution. So if you are referring to like a 4K resolution display, I don't think they'll do it with the iMac this year. I think what we will see is a 27-inch Thunderbolt display to go with the new Mac Pro, and then we might see in 2015 a newly updated iMac with that high resolution display. If everything goes to this 4K resolution, that is. Apple watch very closely for a long time often before sort of joining a particular technology. They're often very wary about taking on new technologies until they know they're fairly established. So, but again, brilliant question. And then I've got a couple of questions that are coming via email. This one is from Mason. Hey Dave, I've watched your videos and I'm finally getting around to asking you a question. Excellent. I currently have an iPad 3rd generation and I was wondering if you preferred the iPad or the iPad mini and why. Also, what changes would you like to see in iOS 7 other than bug fixes? Keep up the great content. Well, thanks very much for the question and the kind comments. Between the iPad and the iPad mini, I really do prefer the iPad Air. I just prefer a larger screen device for a tablet. The iPad mini with Retina display, lovely, lovely device. And it all comes down to just what size screen you want. They're pretty much identical spec-wise now. And it's just a very, very personal preference. I just prefer the slightly bigger screen of the iPad Air. And it's so light anyway that the difference between the two weight-wise isn't that much. So you also asked about iOS 7. I'm pretty happy with iOS as it is. So I don't really think I would like to see that many changes. I'm just okay with it. It does exactly what I want it to do. And if they made any changes, I think the only thing that niggles me sometimes is when I'm swiping up and down in apps, and sometimes I swipe from the edge of the screen and I get the sort of notification bar come down or the control center pop up. That's maybe the only thing I think they could possibly refine slightly. But then that's just user error. iOS 7 as a whole, I didn't like it initially, but I've got used to it, put it that way. And I'm really not sure which direction Apple will take it in for a future release. Bit of a rubbish answer that, wasn't it? But that's what I think. Anyway, next question is from Mikal or Michael. I watch your videos for a while and I always find something interesting. Thank you very much. The thing I'd like to ask is about the music you're using in your videos. Could you tell me something about more trusted sources for legal and free music, which can be used, for example, in YouTube videos? I'd like to thank you for your videos. Great job. And you're from Krakow. Wow, nice. Very nice to hear from you. With regards to music, let me just shift round because that sun's going in my eyes. With regards to music in my videos, I've used a variety of sources. Now, for free music, in Compotech, they do absolutely fantastic selection, and Kevin MacLeod, I think the gentleman's name is, releases a lot of free music as long as you credit him in the video description. So that's one source. With regards to other free music, YouTube have a library of audio tracks which you can also use, and they're very good as well. Nice selection available from YouTube. And with regards to other trusted sources, I tend to always want to actually purchase a license to my music, and I'll tell you why. If you use free music, and I have used in Compotech before in a lot of my videos, but if you use free music in a lot of your videos and then they change the terms of their license and decide it's no longer free, then you're in trouble. You've got to, even though you used the music when it was free, you'll find you get a lot of content ID matches come up, like I recently did on some of my videos, and you'll find that you then have to go back and change the videos, remove the music or the audio altogether, and it is an issue. So I tend to like to buy the license to my music, and then I know I own the right to use it. And I use, there's a website called Prime Loops, for example, but there are hundreds of different services you can use to actually purchase licenses to use music on YouTube. So I would search around find a company that you like, purchase the correct license. So be very, very careful. Some companies issue you a license where you can use that music just in one video. So make sure you're purchasing a license where you can use either the complete track or the loops in multiple creations, not just the one time. Hi everyone, it is now Sunday, and yes, even on a Sunday I ended up working, but then I thoroughly enjoy it, so why not? I just recorded and uploaded my video about the Patreon campaign that I've launched. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a short while, because even in the short time that it's been uploaded, which is about maybe 30 minutes to 40 minutes ago, I've already had an email question about the Patreon campaign, so I'll talk a little bit about it in this video. But I've also had some questions come in via Twitter. So let's continue the weekend Q&A. The first question is from Incoming Tech. And the question is, have you ordered a new Mac Pro? If so, when's it arriving? Thanks. Well, yes, I did order one. I ordered one the day that they were actually available to order. Very, very first few minutes of them coming online. And I'm still waiting. But the good news is it has been dispatched. So I'm recording this video that you're watching now on Sunday. You'll be watching it on Monday because I upload it a day later. And during this week, hopefully it will land in the Geekanoids studio, and I am going to be bringing you a really cool unboxing, something a little bit different from me, and also plenty of video coverage after that. And just to let you know, I ordered the 6-core. I keep getting asked this on Twitter, which one did you order? 6-core, but I also changed the storage because I can't believe Apple only gave us 256 gigabytes of storage on the 6-core version. Fair enough on the base model. Even on the base model, it's a little bit stingy. So I upgraded that to 512 gigabytes, and it might be why it was delayed a little bit, but it is on its way. The next question comes from Richard Fernandez. You reviewed the F&V video light. Yes, I did. And I thought I saw you get an Aperture LED light in a video. What lights are your favourite for your setup? Well, that is a really good question. Yes, I have reviewed the F&V video light, which is like a ring light. Very, very bright. Although it is for video work, a lot of people associate that sort of ring light for macro photography or macro work, sort of close-up stuff. And it's fantastic for video. Very, very bright, as I say, but not quite the sort of light that I was expecting it to be long-term. It's still very, very good for making a subject really well lit. But I was looking for something more suited to video work, and I purchased an Aperture LED light, and it's very, very good value for money. And it's so good, actually, that I'm going to be ordering another 2. There are different versions of this Aperture light that I actually found on Amazon. Some of them do a more intensified central sort of spotlight, and some of them do a wider dispersed softer light. And I bought the S version, which is like the spotlight version, and it's absolutely fantastic, really good lighting. I've been using it in my videos lately, and I'm going to buy a couple of the W versions, which are the wider angle LEDs, and when I've got those ones in, I'll do a separate video on all of the lights. I find LED lights to run a lot cooler, they're a lot easier to handle, and especially these Aperture lights, they're very light as well. Not light as in the amount of light they give out, but light as in weight. So they're very easy to manage and carry around, set up and take down, etc. So as I say, I will do another video on that very, very shortly. Now, I also got, let me just go to my email, a question from, and I don't know if you want your full details read out, but it was from somebody, here we go, from Darren, who asks, why have you just launched this Patreon campaign? I don't see the point of paying for content if you already earn money from YouTube. Now, I was considering, should I answer this question, shouldn't I? But I love sharing information, I'm happy to answer it. Yes, I do earn money from YouTube. I earn revenue from the videos that I upload to YouTube. But the problem is, when you do YouTube full-time as your main job and you create a video, adverts get run at the beginning of the video or mid-roll, or at the end of the video you sometimes get adverts. And the amount you get per 1,000 views is very, very small. the amount of work you put into the creation is still exactly the same. And then over time, that video loses what I call traction. So the views become less and less over time. As the video gets older, maybe the news or the product you've covered isn't as current, so views do tail off. And then that becomes a less attractive video for advertisers to actually put their adverts on. Now, of course, you still see adverts there, but as time goes by on videos, often those adverts are sort of fill-in adverts, and they're sold at a very, very low rate, so the amount you earn from those videos decreases as well. Now, for the sustainability of videos on YouTube, and for myself running it as a business, you need to have ways of supporting your production of videos. And the Patreon campaign isn't me doing something and saying, if you don't support and don't make a payment each month, you're not going to be able to see my videos. That would never ever happen. I'm always going to produce videos for YouTube and share them with you, and they're free of charge and they're supported by the adverts. But with the Patreon campaign, it allows people to show their support with just a $2 a month and upwards sort of donation to the channel, and that allows me to create and evolve the channel. And with my Patreon campaign, I decided to sort of mould it around bringing back the Mega Gadget Collection, which I had to stop doing because of the amount of production time that was involved. And the Patreon campaign, if I get enough support from you, it will allow me to bring back that video series. So nothing's going to change on the Geekanoids channel. Yes, I do get paid, but we all have bills to pay, we all have production costs, and I want to take Geekanoids to the next level every single year, or in fact probably more often than that. I try and think of things that are going to evolve the channel probably on a daily basis, or maybe even an hourly basis, or maybe when I wake up in the middle of the night trying to think, how can I make that video a bit better, or what can I do in this video series? It's a continual evolution of videos that I want to produce for you guys and girls to enjoy. So I'm not saying, I'll just repeat myself a little bit, I'm not saying you have to donate on the Patreon page, but if you can, your support is very, very welcome. Brilliant question. Thank you very much for all of your questions in this weekend-long Q&A. I love doing these Q&A sessions because it allows me to answer your tech, geek, and other lifestyle type questions. You can throw any questions at me, either in the comments section below, or you can tweet them at me at Geekanoids and use the hashtag GeekQA, or I do also accept donation requests. The link and the details about that are in the video description. So thanks very much for watching. As always, hit that like button, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you'd like to watch another amazing video from me, please do click that top box. And if you want to subscribe to my geeky channel, click the red box on the bottom of your screen now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.